Hi there. On the table in front of me, I have my big screen Beyond. This is the one, not the two. I got this when it first came out. And my index controllers. Now, lately, I've been using these a lot more than I was in the past. When I bought this originally, I bought this for the intent of basically using it for simulator drifting exclusively. I run a sim shop where I teach people how to drift, and I figured, hey, having a VR headset for practice would be pretty cool, right? Well, setting it up every single time and calibrating it and, setting up the base stations and all that stuff was a little bit more labor than I liked. So I ended up not really using it very much. I probably put like a sum total of like maybe 5 hours on the headset over the course of like the first year that I had this thing. Didn't ever really use it, never really got into it. I kind of had honestly almost forgotten about VR as an entire thing up until when Valve made all their new hardware announcements. So Valve made their hardware announcement about the controller, the machine, and the frame. And when I first saw this new stuff that they were announcing, I was like, okay, cool. The Steam frame is really, really cool because for me specifically, there's a couple little nitpicks that I have about this headset that make it so that I almost never want to use it. And those little nitpicks are setting up the base stations and having to calibrate it every single time. I don't know if that's a normal experience for everybody, but for me, every single time that I use this thing, I have to recalibrate the center position so many times. A lot of times, multiple times within a single play session. And I don't know if that's just because of the simulator that I'm using it with or whatever, but that was always an issue that I had. And then the other issues are obviously there's no audio here, so I use my standalone wireless headphones with it and the cable. I know a lot of people get used to having the tethered cable. Personally, it's one of those things that it has caused enough problems for me over the times where it'll yank it off my head or it gets stuck in my chair or something really awkward, and it's just not a pleasant experience. So I have a couple of nitpicks that I don't really like about this, but overall, I will say that the image quality and everything else is perfectly fine. This is a great VR headset. It's just for my specific use case, it was something that I didn't really ever get into, you know what I mean? Like, I never really got absorbed in the VR space. In fact, when I got these, I actually never really used them. I was using a simulator with it most of the time, so obviously I have my hands on the steering wheels and shifters and everything else, and I'm not holding those. So it was one of those things where I was just like, well, maybe VR just isn't for me. Like, maybe that's just not for me. But when Valve made their announcement about the Steam frame, I looked at it and I thought, that's pretty cool. That solves a lot of the issues that I have with my headset, and I kind of want one. But I'm not going to be able to justify spending the money to buy another VR headset just for drifting. You know what I mean? Like just for using it with the sim drifting. I already have a headset. If I really want to do VR, just use the VR headset. And then I thought, what if I give VR a proper go? Let me try to get into the VR space properly. Not just with the sim drifting stuff, but actually enjoying VR for what it can be. So I tried, and I was not ready for the rabbit hole that I was about to fall down. I installed VR chat, thinking it's going to be a 3D rendition of 4chan. It's going to be a bunch of trolls and a bunch of just profanity and, loud music blasting over public comms and whatever. And while that does exist to a certain extent, I have to say it's not nearly as rampant as some people might make it out to be. And I've met some pretty cool people that have kind of become friends of mine. And I've been having a great time with all the different games that you can play and all the different worlds that you can see and all the different stuff that you can do. And I gotta say, I've really fallen into this VR rabbit hole, like hard. and I'm having a great time with it. I just think it's a little bit ironic that I came into the VR space with what, especially at the time that this came out, this was crazy, you know? Like, you've got the custom made faceplate that perfectly fits on your face for no light leak and perfect comfort. You know, I came in with a pretty good setup, and I'm thinking, maybe it's not for me. And then it took me this long to see a Valve announcement of their new, sort of admittedly like mid-range-ish VR setup, right? It's not going to be as high of resolution as this. It's not going to be, you know, necessarily anything super bleeding edge on in any real regard. But it looks like such a refined and interesting package, especially with the way that they've got the ARM processor in there and that kind of thing to make it do a little bit of standalone as well. It's just a really interesting thing that I honestly just want to play with. I just want to try it out. I want to see what it's all about. I just kind of was looking at the frame and I was like, man, it would be really cool to have one, but I just don't have a justification for it until I got into VR. And now that I'm playing a lot more VR because of the announcement, now I feel like I gotta get one. And I really gotta see what it's all about. I think the new controllers don't look half bad. You know, coming from these, I don't think that they're that much different, except that actually I think the button layout on the frame controllers will be super cool for like VR 2D gaming kind of thing. But also, the Steam Machine and the controller, like, no, the Steam Machine is not as good as the computer that I've got right now. But do I care? No, because I have a Steam Deck and I use my Steam Deck for everything. Like, I have a super high-end gaming computer, sure, you know, with the 7900 XTX and a 7800 X3D and, you know, 64 gigabytes of RAM. But I use my Steam Deck more. I don't know why. I really don't know why. But I do. And, you know, I saw the announcement that Valve made, and, you know, obviously I didn't make a video at the time. You know, now you can go watch any number of videos about the announcement and all the different hardware specs and all that stuff. So I'm not going to go into all that in this rant. But, man, Valve's hardware announcement kind of got me back into gaming, but it really got me into VR. And I gotta say, I'm really looking forward to the Steam frame and the Steam Machine and the Steam controller. Don't get me started on the controller. I might have to make a whole separate video on the controller, because that controller takes everything that I've been using my PS4 and PS5 controllers for and just dials it up one more step and just makes it look like the perfect gaming controller in my personal opinion. Again, I'll have to try it out before I have a real opinion on it. But yeah, no, I just wanted to make a little rant video, make a little video just talking about this, because VR is a thing that I never really considered myself as somebody that would get into it too much. I've played a little bit of VR stuff, you know, over the years. Like, I tried Beat Saber on my friend's I don't remember what kind of headset it was. Oculus Rift, I remembered. So yeah, I tried it on an Oculus Rift. I've tried, you know, Beat Saber on a couple different things, like the Meta Quest 2 at one point. I had tried it out, and I was able to see the benefit of having it for the sim drifting because of the depth perception that it adds to, you know, telling how far the car in front of you is and that kind of thing, finding your braking points and whatnot. But man, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, after Valve made that announcement about the new hardware, it sparked that curiosity of maybe I should try VR gaming, and it sent me down this rabbit hole harder than I was ever imagining possible. And I have gotten fully consumed in the VR space to the point where I was like kind of eyeing the Flux Pose stuff, and I was like, maybe, but no, I'm not. I'm not going to go down that hole that hard, that fast. That's just not going to happen yet. Maybe. So, Yeah, I just wanted to make this video to just kind of rant about this because it's been a long time since I've found myself being actually excited about something and actually kind of inspired by something to be like, hey, this is a cool thing. It's going to get me into this. I don't remember the last time that happened except for maybe the PlayStation 2 when it came out. I was a little kid. And when that came out, it was like, oh my God. And I think this is the first time that I've had that sort of genuine excitement about gaming in general, outside of maybe like when Crysis dropped. If you remember when the Crysis thing came out, and that was really cool because I had a pretty good computer at the time, and I was like, oh, I can play Crysis. But yeah, just wanted to make a little bit of a rant. Just wanted to just kind of say, like, I got to admit, I don't know what they've done, but the Valve hardware announcement is definitely something pretty interesting. Let me know what you think. Are you interested in the Valve hardware, like all three of them? Are you interested in just the machine or the controller or the frame? Or are you interested in all of it, none of it? Let me know, because I can't be the only one that has fallen into the VR gaming space because of the announcement of the Valve hardware. It's kind of crazy. I just can't believe that it took a different VR headset's announcement in order to get me to pick up my own. Does anybody else have this experience? Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you guys actually somehow watched all the way to the end and you guys are still here and you guys want to see more of me going on rants about different things, whether it's Steam Decks or VR stuff or computers or drifting or whatever, maybe give me a thumbs up and subscribe, maybe? I think that's how YouTube works, right? I don't know. All right, I'll see you guys around. Bye.